Today, we are going to talk about something that affects every single person listening right now. Whether you realize it or not, it affects your income. It affects prices in the market. It affects your job opportunities. It affects the value of your savings. And it even affects political decisions and global stability. Today, we are talking about the domestic economy and the foreign economy. Not in a rushed way, not in a technical classroom tone, but in a calm, deep, and realistic way, the way economics should be understood. This episode is designed to help you feel how the economy works, not just memorize definitions. So take a breath, relax, and let's begin. What is the economy, really? Before we divide the economy into domestic and foreign, we must understand what the word economy actually means. At its core, the economy is not numbers. It is not charts. It is not complex formulas. The economy is human behavior under scarcity. People have unlimited needs: food, housing, security, comfort, growth, status, but resources are limited: money, time, energy, natural resources. The economy is simply the system we use to decide what to produce, how to produce it, who gets it. Every economy, whether local or global, revolves around these three questions. The domestic economy, the engine inside a country. Let us start with the domestic economy, also known as the internal economy. The domestic economy refers to all economic activities that happen inside a country's borders. It includes production, consumption, employment, investment, government spending, taxation, monetary policy. In simple words, the domestic economy is how a country takes care of itself economically. The role of households. Households are the foundation of the domestic economy. Every household plays two main roles: 1. Consumers, 2. Suppliers of labor. When households buy food, clothes, phones, or services, they create demand. When households work, they supply labor in exchange for income. This income is then spent again, creating a cycle. This cycle is called the circular flow of income. Money moves, work moves, goods move, services move, and the economy breathes. Businesses and firms. Businesses exist to meet demand. They combine labor, capital, technology, raw materials to produce goods and services. Businesses are motivated by profit, but their role is much larger. They create jobs, they increase productivity, they innovate, they generate tax revenue. A strong domestic economy usually has competitive firms, efficient production, innovation-friendly policies. Government, the stabilizer. The government is not separate from the domestic economy. It is a major player. The government influences the economy through taxes, public spending, regulations, social programs. When the economy is weak, governments may increase spending, reduce taxes, support employment. When the economy overheats, governments may raise taxes, cut spending, control inflation. This is called fiscal policy, central banks, and monetary policy. Every modern economy has a central bank. The central bank controls interest rates, money supply, credit availability. Low interest rates encourage borrowing, investment, consumption. High interest rates reduce inflation, excessive borrowing, asset bubbles. Monetary policy works quietly, but its impact is powerful. Key indicators of the domestic economy. To understand how healthy a domestic economy is, economists look at indicators such as GDP, gross domestic product, measures total production inside the country. Unemployment rate shows how many people want to work but cannot find jobs. Inflation rate measures how fast prices are rising. Productivity measures efficiency of labor and capital. These indicators tell a story, not the full truth, but an important one. Strengths and weaknesses of a domestic economy. A strong domestic economy usually has stable institutions, skilled workforce, infrastructure, trust in the system. A weak domestic economy often suffers from high unemployment, inflation or deflation, corruption, low productivity, capital flight. But here is something important. No domestic economy exists in isolation anymore. And this brings us to the second half of our journey. The foreign economy. When borders disappear. The foreign economy, also called the external or international economy, refers to economic interactions between countries. This includes trade, foreign investment, exchange rates, global supply chains, international finance. In today's world, even the most powerful countries depend on others. No country is truly independent. International trade. Countries trade because resources are unevenly distributed. Specialization increases efficiency. Consumers want variety. Costs can be reduced. Exports bring money in. Imports send money out. The balance between them is called the trade balance. Trade can boost growth, lower prices, increase competition. But it can also destroy local industries, increase dependency, create trade deficits. Exchange rates. Exchange rates determine how much one currency is worth relative to another. They affect imports, exports, inflation, foreign investment. A strong currency makes imports cheaper, but exports more expensive. A weak currency boosts exports but raises import costs. Exchange rates are influenced by interest rates, inflation, political stability, market confidence. Foreign direct investment, FDI. Foreign investment brings capital, technology, jobs, skills. But it can also bring profit extraction, market dominance, economic dependency. Smart economies attract investment without losing control. Global financial system. Banks, funds, and institutions move trillions of dollars daily. This system allows growth, liquidity, risk sharing. But it also creates crises, contagion, volatility. A crisis in one country can spread worldwide in hours. The connection between domestic and foreign economies. This is the most important idea in this episode. Domestic and foreign economies are not separate. They are deeply connected. Domestic inflation affects exchange rates. Foreign demand affects local jobs. Global crises hit local markets. Government decisions impact international trust. A weak domestic economy cannot compete globally. A fragile foreign position can destroy domestic stability. Balance is everything. Closing reflection: the economy is not an enemy. It is not a mystery reserved for experts. It is a living system created by human choices. When you understand how the domestic and foreign economy work together, you stop reacting blindly, and you start thinking strategically. The foreign economy in depth, beyond trade and numbers. When people hear the term foreign economy, they often think only about exports and imports. But the foreign economy is much more than goods crossing borders. It is about trust. It is about power. It is about dependency and influence. Every international economic relationship carries an invisible question: who depends on whom more? Economic power and influence. Countries do not all participate in the global economy equally. Some countries set the rules, control financial institutions, issue reserve currencies, influence global markets. Other countries follow those rules, depend on foreign capital, import inflation, or stability from outside. Economic power today is not only military or political, it is financial, monetary, and structural. A country with strong international economic influence can borrow cheaply, attract investment easily, absorb shocks better, export its problems to others. Global supply chains. One of the most important features of the modern foreign economy is global supply chains. A single product might be designed in one country, manufactured in another, assembled in a third, sold worldwide. This system increases efficiency and lowers costs, but it also creates fragility. When one link breaks, production stops, prices rise, jobs disappear, markets panic. The world learned this lesson during global crises. Efficiency without resilience is dangerous. Financial flows and capital movement. Money moves faster than people and goods. Capital flows include portfolio investments, bank loans, speculative funds, sovereign investments. These flows can boost growth, strengthen currencies, increase liquidity. But they can also leave suddenly, crash markets, collapse currencies, destroy savings. This is why foreign confidence matters so much. Markets do not ask for permission, they react. Economic crises, when the world shakes together. No discussion of domestic and foreign economies is complete without talking about economic crises. Crises are not accidents. They are the result of accumulated imbalances. How domestic problems become global crises. A domestic problem can turn global when the country is large. The financial system is interconnected. Confidence collapses. It usually follows a pattern. 1. Excessive borrowing. 2. Asset bubbles. 3. Overconfidence. 4. Sudden shock. 5. Panic. 6. Global contagion. What begins inside one economy spreads through. Banks, markets, trade, expectations. Fear travels faster than data. How global crises hit domestic economies. When a global crisis occurs, exports fall, capital leaves, currencies weaken. Inflation rises, unemployment increases. Even countries that behaved responsibly are affected. This is the reality of integration. Globalization creates opportunity, but also shared vulnerability. The human side of the economy. Now let us slow down and talk about something often ignored. The economy is not abstract. It is lived daily by people. How the domestic economy affects daily life. Domestic economic conditions shape job security, purchasing power, access to education, healthcare quality, social stability. High inflation erodes dignity. Unemployment destroys confidence. Instability creates fear. Economic stress is emotional, not just financial. How the foreign economy touches your life. Even if you never leave your country, the foreign economy affects you. It influences fuel prices, food costs, technology access, currency value, investment opportunities. When the global economy shakes, no one is untouched. Economic independence, myth or goal. Many people talk about economic independence, but what does it really mean? True independence does not mean isolation. It means resilience. A resilient economy can trade without dependency, attract investment without submission, protect domestic stability, adapt to global change. The strongest economies are not closed, they are balanced. How smart countries manage the balance. Successful countries focus on strong domestic production, diversified trade partners, stable institutions, education and skills, innovation, fiscal discipline, monetary credibility. They do not rely on one sector. They do not rely on one market. They do not rely on one solution. Diversity is strength. How a smart individual thinks economically. Now let us bring this discussion to you, the listener. Understanding the domestic and foreign economy changes how you think. A smart individual does not panic with headlines, understands cycles, prepares instead of reacts, diversifies income and skills, respects risk. You do not need to be an economist to think economically. You need awareness. Personal decisions in a global economy. Your choices matter. Where you save, how you spend, what skills you develop, how you invest, how you plan for uncertainty. The economy rewards preparation, not hope. Long-term economic thinking. Short-term thinking dominates politics. Long-term thinking builds nations. Long-term economies invest in human capital, infrastructure, institutions, trust. Trust is the most valuable economic asset. Without trust, money hides, investment stops, growth dies. Final reflection, this segment. The domestic economy is your foundation. The foreign economy is your environment. One gives you strength, the other tests it. When you understand both, you stop being surprised by reality. You start seeing patterns. You start understanding decisions. You start protecting yourself. The economy is not something distant or complicated. It is a reflection of human choices, trust, and responsibility. When we understand the domestic economy, we understand our foundation. When we understand the foreign economy, we understand the world around us. Knowledge does not remove uncertainty, but it gives us clarity. Thank you for listening. Until next time.